Greetings and welcome to another Warhammer 40,000 kill team video, where today I'm going over the updated rules for the Fellgor Ravager kill team. But before we get into things, please remember to like and subscribe as well as comment. Let me know what you thought of today's video. Did you find it useful? And remember, I've got a Discord you can check out for free in the episode description below, an affiliate link on Games and Crossfire Games, and a Patreon if you want to give me some more support as well. But yeah, I'll be going over the updated rules for Fellgor Ravager, which you can find on the Kill Team app for free, as well as Warhammer Community on the download section. So let's get on with the review. For your roster, you're still Recon and Seek and Destroy, which is good. That's unchanged. And then you're still a 10 operative kill team. You have your Ironhorn, who can either have the Corrupted Pistol and Chainsword, or Plasma Pistol and Bludgeon. Then you've got the Death Knell, Flux Spray, Gnarlscar, Gorehorn, Herdgoad, Mangler, Shaman, Toxhorn, Vandal, and then Warriors, which can either have Bludgeons or Cleavers. Everyone can be selected once apart from your Warriors, so this is all unchanged. For faction rules, you still have Frenzy, which has been unchanged, but whatever. Whenever a friendly Fellgor Ravager operative that doesn't have one of your Frenzy tokens would be incapacitated during the battle, it's not incapacitated and gains one of your Frenzy tokens. All remaining attack dice are discarded, including yours if the operative is fighting or retaliating. If it has a conceal order, switch to engage. When a friendly Fellgor Ravager operative has one of your Frenzy tokens, it's only incapacitated as deal over leaf. It cannot have a conceal order, it's injured, it cannot perform the pickup marker or mission actions, excluding operate hatches, and it counts as 1 APL for contesting objectives and markers. So, for friendly Fellgor Ravager operatives that have one of your Frenzy tokens, is incapacitated when the following is met. Its activation ends, an enemy operative fighting or retaliating against it, and your opponent strikes with a critical success, or they strike with a normal success for a second time. An enemy operative is shooting and critical damage is inflicted on it. The battle ends. Resolve this before any victory conditions that resolved at the end of the battle. Your opponent treats Fellgor Ravager operatives as being incapacitated instead when it would be incapacitated normally when it gains one of your Frenzy tokens for the purpose of scoring victory points, and the faction rules that are required to be incapacitated. So the only thing that has changed here, which is technically very helpful, is now when the battle ends, no matter who has initiative, the frenzied operatives die before you do scoring, which is very useful that they finally clarified it after 2 years, but it's still a broken mechanic that gatekeeps several factions out of the game. Like the issue Fellgor have right now, if it wasn't for elite teams punching them in, no other team would be able to reliably deal with them, because you have to double fight them they're effectively a 20 operative kill team, realistically, because everyone has to die twice in terms of how much damage you have to put in. So if you can't double fight or double shoot, you're not in a good spot against Fellgor Ravager. It's a badly designed mechanic, and it's very, very confusing that Games Workshop kept it exactly the same. I know some people are like, oh, it's the identity of the faction. I guess we can just keep its identity as being broken. But whatever, let's get on with it. So for strategy ploys, you have Violent Temperament. Whenever a friendly operative is fighting or retaliating after rolling your attack dice, you can use this rule. If you do so, you must reroll all of your attack dice. You cannot reroll a single one. So that's very good. Well, it's unchanged. So if you get a bad roll, this is great. If you get 2 hits, 2 misses, probably better keeping unless you're fishing for crits. Then you've got Ambush. Whenever a friendly operative is activated, if its order is turned from concealed to engage, it's ambushing their activation. Whenever a friendly operative is ambushing and is fighting, you can retain one of your fails as a normal success instead of discarding it, or you can retain one of your normal successes as a critical success instead. Note that an operative has one of your Frenzy tokens cannot ambush. This was buffed. This was already very good before because it turned a normal into a crit. Now it turns a miss into a success. It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry. It's fine. Then you've got Pelting Firepower. Whenever a friendly operative is shooting an enemy operative that's been shot by another friendly operative during the turning point, that first friendly operative's ranged weapons have the Ceaseless Weapon roll. If the enemy operative has been shot by more than one other friendly operative during this turning point, that friendly ranged weapons have the Relentless Special roll. So the interesting thing, now it's just not locked into any, like your auto pistols. It works on your plasma pistols as well. But it is good if you're running like Gangster Fellgor, who just run around just like blasting people with dualies. So it's better. Then you've got Reckless Determination. Whenever an enemy operative is shooting an expended operative, you can retain one of your defense dice as a normal success without rolling it, in addition to a cover save, if any. So this is something I'm going to repeat throughout the review. At the end of 2nd edition, they had several changes which haven't been reflected in these rules, and it's very likely they will come in the first FAQ we have. Reckless Determination originally used to stack with cover, then it was errated so it doesn't. So for now it's gone back to its old wording. I don't know how long it will last. If it keeps its old wording, it's great. If it keeps its new wording where it can't stack with cover, it's just okay. For Firefight Ploys, you have Ruthless Rampage. Use this Firefight Ploy after a friendly operative performs the fight action. If it's no longer within control range of enemy operatives, that friendly operative can immediately perform a free charge action even if it's charged already, but cannot move more than 3 inches. This is unchanged and very, very good for get chain charges, especially in operatives that can fight more than once. Really good into horde teams. Then you've got Wild Rage. Uses Firefight Ploy when a friendly operative is activated until the end of its activation. Add 1 to its move stat. This is unchanged. Very useful for getting extra charges. Then you've got Animalistic Fury. Uses Firefight Ploy when a friendly operative is fighting or retaliating and you strike with a critical success. Inflict 1 additional damage with that strike. This is also unchanged and very reliable with ambush. Then you've got Blood Sense. Use this Firefight Ploy during a friendly operative's activation when it incapacitates an enemy operative within its control range. Select 1 other friendly operative visible and within 3 inches of that incapacitated enemy operative. When that first friendly operative is expended, you can activate that other friendly operative before your opponent activates. When the other operative is expended, your opponent then can activate. So this has been changed slightly. You now have to be within 3 inches of the operative you killed to activate, but it's still a very good situational group activation too. Can be very powerful, especially if you kill like an operative that's about to die and then charge in. Like you could do charge, kill, and then like Blood Sense. So very, very good. Your leader is the Fellgor Ironhorn, who has 2 APL, a 6-inch move, 5 up save, and 11 wounds. This is the standard profile for your kill team. Your leader has 11 wounds, everyone else has 10, and everyone's on 32 mil bases. He's got a Corrupted Pistol, which is 4 attacks, 8 on 4s, 3-5, range 8 rending. Then a Plasma Pistol, which is 4 attacks, 8 on 4s, 3-5, piercing 1. And Supercharged, which is 4 attacks, 8 on 4s, 4-5, range 8, hot, lethal, 5 up, piercing 1. I wouldn't really run these. Even with pelting firepower, I'd probably just go with the Corrupted Pistol. Then you've got the Bludgeon, which is 4 attacks, 8 on 3s, 4-4 brutal, or the Corrupted Chainsword, which is 4 attacks, 8 on 3s, 4-5 rending. The Chainsword is just better, and I think overall the Chainsword and Corrupted Pistol is better. Then you've got Call the Attack, Strategic Gambit. Select 1 friendly operative visible and within 6 inches of this operative. That selected operative and each other friendly operative within 2 inches can immediately perform a free dash action in any order of your choice. This is unchanged from the end of the edition. Still crazy, especially on very open boards where you can move up safely, or on Gallowdark. Very, very good, too good, and you can do it every turning point. But otherwise, it's great mobility for your kill team. Then you've got your Death Knell, who has an Auto Pistol, which is 4 attacks, 8 on 4s, 2-3, range 8, and then a Bludgeon, which is 4 attacks, 8 on 3s, 4-4 brutal. It's got an Icon Bearer, so it counts as 1 APL higher for controlling objectives. And then War Gong. Whenever an attack dice would inflict critical damage on a friendly operative within 3 inches of this operative, if this operative doesn't have one of your frenzy tokens, you can choose to inflict normal damage instead, which is unchanged. And the problem you have against frenzied operatives, as long as they're within 3 inches of this Death Knell, they won't die from shooting. Then you've got the Gong Knell for 1 action point. Use this at the start of this operative's next activation until this operative is incapacitated. Whenever an operative is shooting at it, you improve its save stat by 1 and ignore the piercing weapon rule. So it effectively goes up to a 3-up invulnerable save, because for some reason this piece of metal gives it a 4-up armor save. This operative is unchanged, still very good, great, like a very frustrating for your opponent, but very good for yourself. Then you've got the Flux Spray, who has triple cleavers, which are 4 attacks, 8 on 3s, 4-5 ceaseless. It's got Blade Whirl, so whenever this operative is fighting or retaliating, if it doesn't have one of your frenzy tokens, you can resolve one of your successes before normal order. If you do so, you must be using it to block. You have lost the ability to double block, which is kind of a trade-off, so it is a bit of a nerf. And then you've got Cleaver Fury for 2 action points. Perform a free reposition action with this operative, and during that action you can move an additional 2. You can spend 1 CP to move an additional inch as well on top of that, and you can move within control range of enemy operatives. It cannot begin or end their move there. Inflict D3+1 damage on each enemy operative you move within control range of, rolling separately for each, and you cannot do it while you have a conceal order. So still very, very useful at doing chip damage, because you're doing a minimum of 2 to 4 damage every time you run through, especially if you run through multiple operatives. So still useful. Then you've got your Gnarl Scar, who has 2 APL, 6-inch movement, 5 up save, and 11 wounds. Once again, this used to be 10. So I don't know how long it would be 11 wounds for. It's got an auto pistol and then a bionic fist, which is 4 attacks, hit on freeze, 4/5 brutal. It's got sagacious. So at the end of this Optive's activation, you can change its order, and it's got uncompromising attack. So perform a free fight action with this Operative, then perform a free shoot action with this, or vice versa. This Operative can perform a shoot action within control range of enemy Operatives, but if it does so, it must target the enemy Operative within its control range, even if other friendly Operatives are within that enemy Operative's control range. And you must select an auto pistol for that shoot action. Completely unchanged. The tactic before was starting on engage, turning point 1, moving up the board, throwing a grenade, then switching back to conceal. I don't think that's the play anymore because all your grenades have lost seek, so you don't really do that anymore. But uncompromising attack is very good because you just go shoot someone and fight, or fight someone then shoot, so still useful. Then you've got your Gorehorn, who has an auto pistol and a skull cleaver, which is 4 attacks, on freeze, 4/5 lethal, 5 up head taker. It's a champion, so it can perform 2 fight actions. And Head Taker, whenever this Operative incapacitates an enemy Operative, roll a d3. This Operative regains a number of wounds equal to that result, unless it has a frenzy token. And until the end of the battle, you add that value to its critical damage stat to a maximum of 8. Completely unchanged and very threatening when this Operative has free APL. Then you've got the Herd Goad, who has the auto pistol and then the Crack Thorn Whip. So the range profile is 4 attacks, hit on 2s, 2/3, range 3, lethal 4 up stun, and then the melee profile is 4 attacks, hit on 3s, 2/3, lethal 4 up shock. Then you've got whip control. Whenever an enemy Operative is visible and within 3 of this Operative, if this Operative isn't within control range of any other enemy Operatives, subtract 1 from the attack stat of their melee weapons to a minimum of 1, and your opponent must spend 1 additional action point for that enemy Operative to fall back. So it no longer affects shooting, it's just melee, but it's harder for your opponent to fall back. Then you've got Insight Fury as an action point. For support, select 1 friendly Operative, excluding the Shaman or Ironhorn, visible and within 3, they get +1 APL. Unchanged, effectively your com. The goats just like to be whipped. Then you've got the Mangler, who currently has 11 wounds. As I said before, it used to have 10 wounds. I don't know how long this will last for. It's got Vicious Claws, which are 4 attacks, hitting on freeze. This used to hit on 4s. 4/6 Ceaseless Tactical Hunter. So Tactical Hunter, whenever this Operative is fighting with this weapon against an expended Operative, the first time you strike with a critical success during that sequence, you can immediately perform another success as a strike before your opponent. Berserker cannot perform shoot actions other than guard, but it cannot perform a shoot action during that interruption, and you must spend 1 additional AP to perform the pickup marker and mission actions, excluding operate hatches. So that's a bit of a buff there. And it's got Savage. The first time it performs a fight action. If it is incapacitated, it can immediately perform a free fight action afterwards. This takes precedence over action restrictions, and you cannot use Ruthless, Rampage, Firefight, Ploy between these 2 activations. So you cannot charge, then dash charge and kill someone else. It's been buffed. Obviously, it's because it's got +1 wound again. But I believe it used to be 5/6 hitting on 4s. So going down to hitting on 3s, 4/6. Wow, that's very, very good. The Mangler was already a good Operative, so I'm not sure why they buffed it. But maybe we're just going deep down the bizarro balance hole. Then you've got the Fellgor Shaman. He has the Auto Pistol and Tech Curse. Tech Curse is 4 attacks, hit on 3s, 1/3 Psychic Rendane, Saturate, Seek. And then you've got Brace Stave, which is 4 attacks, hit on 3s, 3/5 Shock. It's got Mantle of Darkness as a psychic action for 1 AP until the start of this Operative's next activation or until it's incapacitated. Friendly Operatives within 3 of this Operative have Super Conceal, which is completely unchanged. Then you've got Apoplectic Rejuvenation for an action point. Select a friendly Operative within 6 that doesn't have one of your frenzy tokens. It regains 2d3 lost wounds. Or if that Operative has incapacitated someone, you regain 6 lost wounds instead. Unchanged. The only thing new is Tech Curse, because before it just used to give a weapon hot. Now it's just unlimited range, Seek, Saturate, Rending. So it's actually pretty nice. I actually prefer this profile over just giving stuff hot. So yeah, the Shaman's actually been slightly buffed. Then you've got the Toxhorn, who has an auto pistol and cleaver. The cleaver is 4 attacks, hit on 3s, 4/5. It's got Toxic Blessings. You can ignore changes to this APL stat of this Operative, and it isn't affected by shock or stun. Whenever an attack dice inflicts normal damage on this Operative, roll a d6 on a 5-up, -1 damage. So it's only on normal damage now, because it used to have a 6-up feel no pain against all damage, so a nice change there. Then you've got Pox Bomb. This Operative can use the stun grenade that doesn't count towards your choice. In addition, an enemy Operative, when they take the stun test, they equally take damage if the result is 3 or higher, equal to that dice roll, rounding up, halved. So if you roll a 3 or 4, your opponent takes 2 damage. If you roll a 5 or 6, your opponent takes 3. So it's buffed because before it only did the extra damage on a 5-up. Now it's always doing a minimum of 2 damage. So they buffed the Toxhorn. The Toxhorn has been buffed. To be fair, it is a smaller radius, but very, very annoying. Then you've got the Vandal, has a Man Crusher, which is 4 attacks, 8 on 4s, 5/5 brutal vicious blows. Whenever this operative is fighting, this has the ceaseless weapon rule, which is unchanged. Then you've got Sweeping Blow for an action point. Inflict D3+1 damage on each other operative visible and within 2. So this affects friendly operatives as well. You can't do it over Conceal Order. So if you give this operative free APL, it can charge, do Sweeping Blow, then fight. So a nice way to force extra damage through. Then you've got your warriors, which can either have auto pistols and bludgeons or auto pistols and cleavers. And it's got Warrior Frenzy. Whenever this operative has one of your frenzy tokens, it cannot be injured. This takes precedence over the normal frenzy rules, which is a nice buff to your warriors because there are instances where you want to take more warriors. For your equipment, you can take brass adornments. Once per battle, you can use the Animalistic Fury or Wild Rage Firefight Ploys for 0 CP. Auto take. This is kind of the general silly equipment most factions have, so I'm not really upset. Fellgor have it. I just think it's bad design in general, but otherwise it's fine. Then you've got Gore Marks. Once per turning point, when a friendly operative is fighting or retaliating, you can use this rule if you do inflict 1 damage on that friendly operative to reroll one of your attack dice. If the result is a fail, inflict 1 additional damage on that friendly operative. I think you take it. It's still nice for a reroll, especially on your tankier operatives that currently have 11 wounds for now. I think it's fine. Take it. Then you've got the Chaos Sigil. Once per turning point, when an operative is shooting a friendly Fellgor Ravager, at the start of the roll defense dice step, you can use this to roll if you do worsen the piercing roll by 1 until the end of that sequence. Note that piercing 1 would be therefore ignored. It's good, especially to teams that have piercing. Then you've got War Paint. Ignore any changes to the moveset of friendly operatives from being injured. Always take this. It doesn't ignore APL modifiers now, but just ignoring movement is very, very strong. And now all your operatives have it. So you're usually taking brass adornments, war paint, and gore marks, and then sigils now and then. So for operative selection, the good thing about this kill team, it's a 1-box kill team, so you generally only need 1 box. If you're building the leader, I do recommend the corrupted bolt pistol and chainsword, because that's generally the best. I don't find you get much out of the plasma pistol anymore, and the bludgeon just being 4/4 is okay. You just get more being 4/5 damage in melee. Then you take the Death Knell, the Flux Spray, the Gnarlscar, the Gorehorn, the Herd Gold, Mangler, Shaman, Toxin, and Vandal. If you want to get more options, you can buy half a box, aka eBay, or buy another box, which can give you the other leader, and then you can just take extra warriors, because there are they're probably in the mirror and other matchups, maybe into other elites, where you want to drop some of the operatives to just fit in more warriors with cleavers, just to push through more damage. But that's a very, very niche point, and generally I don't think it's too useful, but it's a nice option to have if you want to expand. So for the kill team overview for Fellgor Ravagers, they're fine. They actually got buffed, which is really bizarre, and that's why I'm very confused about this kill team. I'm not too angry at them at the moment, because, for example, if they get all the changes they had at the end of Season 2 in terms of their nerfs, because this was probably done 12 to 18 months before this was released, which means this balance change was done before then. It was a very positive balance change, and it would just be reducing the wound pool of some operatives, as well as making them less better, being a shooting kill team at close range, because their shooting has been buffed. I am very perplexed why this kill team was buffed as a whole, because another thing is look, other toxic teams that were very annoying to play against were toned down. Fellgor got buffed. It's a very confusing thing we've seen with the game. For example, elites were overspec'd, Inquisitor agents, as you already know, and then Fellgor Ravager were buffed as well. It doesn't really make sense. It's very confusing, and it just makes me question what is the point of past experiences when proven instances are raised. But they are still a very solid kill team. Frustratingly, they are a good counter into teams like Inquisitorial agents and stuff. The main thing keeping Fellgor in check are elites, and now elites are a big threat. Fellgor actually are struggling because they can't really compete with the elite teams. But it's like the food chain. If you nerf elites, then Fellgor shoot up to the top. So you have to choose your poison. But they are a very, very good melee team now. Especially now your Mangler now hits on 3s instead of hitting on 4s. It's very good. You're way better at getting into combat. Very good at just chipping damage. People forget you can do effectively a lot of mortal damage because you have lots of abilities that do damage without doing damage. And the cool thing is if you take 2 stun grenades, you effectively have an extra stun grenade. So this kill team, while being weak to stun grenades, potentially one turning point could pump out 3 stun grenades and will always be pumping out a stun grenade that does damage from your your Tox Horn, which is very, very unique. I even have one friendly player who's experimenting using the what do you call it? The gong with the portable barricade, because it just moves up with 3-up/2 up save, ignoring piercing, just being incredibly annoying, which is great. I think it's carrying a gong and a portable barricade, but at least it shows how flexible this team is. It's really weird because there's other melee teams like Gellerpox were hit quite hard, which they definitely needed, as well as Chaos Cult, but Fellgor Ravagers, I guess the design studio really likes goats. Like, they're all playing Goat Simulator, all the kill team people, like, maybe the game dev has bought a goat as well, has a pet goat that they just love. But they are a very terrifying kill team, and my other worry is they're still a stat check for... Not a stat check, they're a roadblock. They're a gatekeep team. For example, Eldari teams really struggle into this team. Any team that's basically 10 operatives and higher struggles, or 9 operatives and higher, because you have to kill them twice. If you can't double fight, can't really clear them, and because of how the gong works, they can actually even survive shooting even while on frenzied. And you can do crazy things, like you can counteract while frenzied, and that won't frenzy you, which is very, very strange. And I don't think that's intentional, because it says only during your activation will you die if you fight and frenzied, like will fight while frenzied and survive, which I don't think was intentional, but we'll see. Like, as I said, the biggest thing, once we get once we get the first FAQ, this team could change radically. So I don't know where I'm going with how this works, but currently they're very, very powerful. And the only thing they really hate is all the Space Marines running around, just punching them. You're frenzied, and then the counteract and the Space Marine just punches you again, and bang, and the goat is gone. But that's pretty much it from me today. Please remember to like and subscribe as well as comment. Let me know what you thought of this review. What do you think of the updated Fellgor for the 3rd edition of Kill Team? And remember, I've got a Discord you can check out for free in the episode description below, an affiliate Element Games and Crossfire Games, and a Patreon if you want to give me some more support. And I'll quickly shout out my patrons. So for my adepts of the crit, I have Zombie Man, well, Zombie Businessman, Tom, Super Cow, Stephen, Sam, Nick, Mercenary Q, Mr. Meatwad, Lucas, John Thomas, Graham, Fangzu, Draken, Dave Meatsworld, Darcy, Dad of Golden's Chris, and then for my veterans of the crit, I have Sandra, Ryan, and Mark. So thank you so much for your support. It really means a lot to me and helps support the channel. Yeah, goats are a weird one. I hate them. I hate them because of what they do to the game, but I love them because they make Inquisition cry. So it's like, what do you do? It's like the problem when I'm doing these reviews, I do know that the first FAQ could heavily change a lot of the teams I've covered, which is why I've kind of tried to leave Fellgor as long as possible, because they're definitely one of the teams likely to change with this FAQ, even if it's just only minorly. So it's very difficult to see where things go, but if you're a GOAT enjoyer, you're going to be very happy. If you're not a GOAT enjoyer, just play elites. But remember, no matter how many times you're fighting frenzied goats, there's always a chance to win, as long as you can roll a crit.